singers, our musicians, and as I call your name, leave the stage and I'll know who you are. Sam Wynn. Thank you, Sam. Jacob Reed. Yay, Jacob. Cameron Harris. Yo. Edison Moreno. Yay! This is powerfully great, and I love each of you. We're so blessed. Okay, today we're going to talk about the wisdom we're already living, which is our body. Our body's got all the information. I've been reading a book by Deepak Chopra. It's called The Secrets of Life. And because I've spent a lifetime trying to learn about the energy and how energy communes with the body and how we can heal and that sort of thing, this book has really inspired this lesson today. So this is what I know about our body on an energetic level, that we are, some of you are as old as me, but remember the radios and they had the little crystal in there? Well, that's what our body is to this planet, that we are a crystal, both transmitting information and receiving information. If we're a happy person, then we change everything about us to that happy vibe. Which our body is our tool. It is a vehicle that we were given, and we just blithely go through life ignoring it. So when we're born, we come in as a perfect specimen. It's only when we evolve in this physical environment and start giving it static that it gets mixed up. Mark Twain said, "I believe in mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter." So that's the forerunner to detachment, and the more detachment we can have about the static of life, the better our vehicle serves us. First Jesus said this, and then Edgar Cayce said this, and I've forgotten what I was going to say. Doesn't matter. But Ram Dass says, the only reason for suffering is to learn you don't have to. So all the suffering that we give our body is self-inflicted. In healing modalities, the practitioner knows that he or she is not the miracle worker, that we are just an instrument of energy, that the body has its own innate wisdom. It knows what it's supposed to do, but the body also is in communication with a higher soul, and sometimes in healing, the person's wisdom doesn't permit the healing energy to go through because that's not their soul contract. But by and large, we are given a perfect vehicle when we come into this world. But it may not appear that way because sometimes the little body is damaged at birth, but we don't know the soul contract of that body, and it is a perfect vehicle for the lesson being learned. Sometimes in healing that we encounter somebody and let's say it's their knee. Well, you have to divert the attention a little bit, so you're putting the energy in on their knee, and then you say, well, how's your shoulder? Oh, my shoulder? Suddenly, you're a magician. The hurt's gone away from their knee, but now they're wondering about their shoulder. But that's how much power we have over our body. It is the body's natural inclination to be well. It wants to be well. It was designed not to age for a long time. But yet when we get into Earth, we've got this static that's telling us, because of our predecessors, how we should age, how we should be. We're, well, it's time to be an old lady now. It doesn't have to be that way. When you talk to your body, it's like training an animal. You can either whip that animal into shape with abuse and orders, or you can be like the horse whisperer. You can gently move the body along in the direction that it really wants to go, and through kindness, you just move it right along. I have to tell you this story. I went to visit my granddaughter, who's now 27, and all of her life she's just been this stunningly beautiful child that's been a nerd. And she will walk around with books and books, and I was there visiting she and her husband, who's a doctor. He's doing computer games, and she's reading 2 books at one time. One over here is The Anatomy of the Horse. Over here is The Horse Whisperer. I have never been so bored on a visit in my life. They didn't have a TV. They didn't go anywhere. All they did was sit around and read, and there was no conversations. They communicate, I'm sure, but I'm over there like. So every time I say The Horse Whisperer, I think of Cassie and her books. Most of you that have been on the spiritual quest notice that when your focus is on the quest, your body desires the things that are good for it. Now, I know that we have vegetarians. I know that we have vegans. I know that we have all these people that their version of taking care of the body is the correct one. It's sort of like all the different religions. This one's is right, and everybody else is going to hell. Well, this is my personal opinion. This didn't come from God, but I think a little balance is in shape there. It keeps everything going nicely, and you don't have to put all this focus on one way of being. The Edgar Cayce readings, this is what I was trying to remember earlier, folks. I was out of sync. Jesus Christ told us, and Edgar Cayce reiterated it, it's not what goes into your mouth that defiles you, it's what comes out of your mouth. So this is what we do. We have all these little cells. We know that the body sloughs off old cells and they're replaced with brand new healthy baby cells. That this is the natural way of being. It's our right to be healthy. This is how our body was designed by the ultimate engineer. But what do? We get out of the shower and we go, oh, God, my butt gets bigger every time I see it. So what does that brand new little healthy baby cell do? It gets schizophrenic. It's like, and so what does it do? You just told it what to do. It just leaps right up there on your butt. Okay, that's what we do. We begin to take ownership of an illness. It's the knee or the shoulder, and we don't direct it, and pretty soon those cells, just like fat cells, build on each other and everything gets out of sync. If we just back off and let the body be, it does what it's supposed to do. Now, in the book that I just mentioned, the Book of Secrets, this is what Deepak Chopra identifies as the body's intelligence and how it is doing its own wisdom if we don't get in its way. Now, this is the cell speaking. One, you have a higher purpose. Every cell in your body has a higher purpose. It knows that. It was designed to be that. You are in communion with all of life, with all the other cells in the body They are in communion and they're working together. 3, your awareness is always open to change. From moment to moment, your body senses everything in your environment. What that does, when you hurt yourself or something is wrong, that all the cells that are supposed to run into that spot like a little Pac-Man and eat up the bad stuff. So they're alert and on guard every minute of every day, rushing to keep the body in a status quo of health. Okay? The cells feel acceptance without judgment for all others as their equal. The heart is not saying to the kidney, I'm more valuable than you. It knows it has its function, and the kidney is equally as valuable with its function. If something is not functioning, then the whole body goes off, and the teamwork is for nothing. Now, we should be listening to that wisdom within our body. You seize every moment with renewed creativity, not clinging to the old and the outworn. Every day your body sloughs off that old dying cell, and they are replaced with new healthy baby cells. And this is one of the affirmations I use to keep my own body functioning. Every day in every way I slough off old cells and they're replaced with brand new baby cells. The body is totally efficient in letting the flow of life bring what it needs. If you don't, like in my lifetime, and I always have a problem with weight, but I have really gone to extremes in just absorbing food to erase what was going on in my life. When we talk about the body being a vehicle, at that time in my life, I used to have dreams, and we all do this. We have dreams of a vehicle which is representative of us, but mine was a school bus trying to be a Karmann Ghia. I never got to Karmann Ghia, but I got rid of the school bus. The body always feels a connection with its source. It knows the energetic source of its being. The body knows it's cradled in the rhythms of the universe. If you don't believe that's so, ask any ER nurse. When there's a full moon, what is happening? The body responds to the rhythm of the universe, and if you are not in balance, sometimes that can affect you in a negative way. Your body automatically gives of itself. Whatever changes in your body, it instinctively knows the energy with which it operates. That's you. You're providing the energy. The body is a vehicle that some wonderful divine engineer created and evolved through eons of time to serve you perfectly. But it is a vehicle, and you are the driver. Now, none of these items are spiritual aspirations. They're the facts of daily existence at the level of yourselves. So what we hope to do as spiritual seekers is learn to become so in tune with the physical that it is a natural part of us. In the Bible, it talks about the kingdom of God. Well, this physical body is part of the kingdom. You are the king over which you have dominion over. Kingdom. You're the boss. Act like it, you know. Tell your body what to do. It's a partnership. Okay, let's talk about these things that were enumerated before. And I have these points back there if you want to take them with you. Somebody said last time we should have the points, so they're there. A higher purpose. Every cell agrees to work for the welfare of the whole. Communion. A cell keeps in touch with every other cell. Awareness. Cells adapt from moment to moment to evolve through the day. Acceptance. Going it alone isn't an option. Creativity. Although every cell has a set of different functions, these functions combine in unlimited ways and dance the dance of life in ways that no one's ever seen before. Being. Cells obey the natural cycle of rest and activity. Efficiency. Cells operate with the smallest amount of expenditure. Every movement is efficient. They trust totally. It's only when we force excessivity that they get out of balance. Giving. It is the nature of cells to give. They are energetic creatures that give of energy, give birth, and they return to God what is God's. Immortality. They perpetuate. They share the memory to the new cell as the old cells die off. Now, if we, as thinking divine creatures, the energetic portion of the soul, were in partnership with our bodies, I don't know what happened when we were given this beautiful chariot to ride in on, and somehow we've turned it into a used Edsel. But it doesn't have to stay that way. You have the ability of where you are right now to stop aging, to allow the body to be its full energetic self. Even now, the silent agreement that holds my body together is a mystical miracle. It is a secret mystery that perfectly expresses through me and through you. This is what they talk about when they call it the body temple. It houses the energy that we have chosen to express as this personality. It's helping us through life to learn the lessons that we must learn. If we didn't have movement, if we didn't have our body, we'd just be ethereal stuff moving without an expression. Our body is so magnificent, and we have control to direct it. That is part of the learning process of being a divine being in a human expression. We need to know that we have the right and the obligation to use our body, work our body, tell our body how to function. It can be anything that we want. In meditation, when we're talking about listening to the body and listening to the cells pulsating, and we consciously send light and love, we're cooperating with and nurturing this energy. When we get caught up in the busyness of life's illusions, because that's what they are, illusions, whatever we get so bent out of shape about it's an illusion. We're here on a learning process. But when we allow our cells to become so unbalanced that the results can become catastrophic. When things get unbalanced, then, like I talked about earlier, the little cell saying, oh, okay, and jumps on our butt, well, it might jump on something that's weak, and the cells build on top of each other, and then the body gets out of balance. But just as we got there, we can get out of there. That we need to know that we're the ones in charge. Our energy, our divine energy is the one that is saying to our body how to operate, how to live. And if you're listening, then the body will tell you where it's at. I don't mean to pick on you, Glenn. But Mr. Taurus over here has had problems with his age, and his knees are listening to him say how old he is and so forth. And so he's lost flexibility in his knees. So, but we all have those things that we have little, The Joy of Healing, or Louise Hay's book, she will tell you specifically if you have an illness that how your animal trainer is off balance. And so then you gently glide your vehicle back into balance. We're continually told the kingdom of God is within us. It's not just the inner knowing and the intuiting. This extends to our temporary physical vehicle. At every moment, at every turn, take time to become aware of the organizational phenomenon that is your physical body. It's the innate wisdom of conducting life. Know that the mystery of life is an intimate part of ourselves. We just need to become aware, so aware of all this evidence of God. I always talk about keeping it, rather than a gratitude journal, keeping an evidence journal. Every time your body responds in a loving, healthful way, write that evidence down to remind yourself who you really are. When we turn on the evening news and listen to the problems, and then listening to some commentator offer his wisdom, a single cell in our body has more wisdom than the universe combined. And that single cell of wisdom was designed specifically for us, our soul's path, and what we're trying to learn in this lifetime. So why look to the exterior and muddle things up when you can listen to your own body tell you what you need to know, and you're living this divine communication and privilege of using this body every day in every way. And so it is.